Hello everyone, and welcome to my session called Aroma Reiki. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Fabienne, but I mostly am known as Fabi just because it's a little bit easier to pronounce, especially in English. To start off with, I'd just quickly like to introduce myself to you so you know who I am, if you don't already. I was born and raised in Switzerland, as I guess most of you probably wouldn't have guessed. My dad is Swiss and my mum's Kiwi. So originally she's from New Zealand. And I also spent quite a lot of time during my 20s. So between 2006 and 2016, I was living between Australia and New Zealand for quite a while, hence the accent as well. And I've also spent time living in other parts of the world, such as Bali. I spent a short time in Holland, and now I'm actually currently living in the beautiful Playa del Carmen in Mexico. So I can't believe I'm actually living in the Caribbean. It's so beautiful here. It's like hot and sunny all the time. If any of you haven't been here yet and get the chance, please do. It's amazing. I'm sure you'd love it. So I would like to split this session into a few sections just so everything is completely clear on what I'm actually talking about. Firstly, I'm sure that a lot of you probably already know what Reiki is. Some of you might have already had a session before. If you don't, I'm just going to quickly explain what Reiki actually means. Excuse me. So Reiki is a energy healing method from Japan. And it's basically, simply put, it's healing with the hands through energy transmission. Now, when I say with the hands, I'll get into the depths or the details of that a little bit further along, because there are actually ways that you can do it without actually using your hands physically. So there's different levels of Reiki, but I'll get into that a bit further on. But what is Reiki actually for? So Reiki is energy healing as we know it. So it can be used to shift energy. It can be used to heal anything from something emotional, something physical, whatever you want to use it for, you name it, it's going to be possible. So it can be from physical pain, physical illness, to regulating your nervous system, to helping clear energetic blockages. If you have an important event coming up or something, there's also ways that you can put together like a Reiki protection for that. You can even clear your house with Reiki energy. So as you would do like smudging with, for example, sage or Palo Santo, as I just happen to have here, you can also do that with Reiki energy. So Reiki is a beautiful, beautiful way to send love and light to whatever is required. So what I love about Reiki is there's nothing bad that can come from it, and you also can't use Reiki for yourself but against something else. So when you're using Reiki, it's always going to be for the best, highest possible outcome for everyone involved. So you can't, for example, say you have an appointment with your boss and you want the appointment to go completely in your favor and your boss to be basically on like the bad side of it. That's not possible, because whatever the outcome's going to be is always going to be the best, highest good for everyone involved. So it's a really beautiful thing. And you can use Reiki on other people, you can use it on yourself. I do often use it on myself if, for example, I'm struggling to sleep, or if I have any pain, especially like that time of the month that us girls all know. It's just a really nice thing to put my hands on my belly, and that really helps ease the pain. Now, what does Reiki actually mean? So I will show you quickly the symbol of it, because I have it tattooed on my back. So that is at the top is the Rei symbol, and the bottom is the Ki. Now, what does that mean? It's Japanese, as I mentioned. So Rei stands for universal, and Ki is life force energy. So it's universal life force energy. In a sense, I'm just a channel who's sending the energy from the universe to whatever person, thing, topic needs it. And I just kicked my camera. I'm so sorry. I hope that didn't disturb the picture too much. But I'm doing one take, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I hope that works out okay. And I just mentioned there actually that you can use Reiki on a lot of things. You can use it on people, but you can also use it on animals, or you can use it on crystals, you can use it on plants, you can use it on big events coming up. So there's so many different uses for Reiki that you can't go wrong. It's so versatile, and it's such a beautiful thing to do. Now, How Reiki works, as I mentioned, it's basically energy being transmitted through my hands. So what I do when I want to open my Reiki channel is I ask the universe or the Reiki energy to please come through me. It then enters, I have a specific way of doing that. It then enters my crown chakra, goes through my body and out of my hands. So therefore I'm the channel. I'm not actually giving any of my own energy. It still can be quite taxing. So when I'm working on a client on a healing session, I often do tend to feel a lot of their topics or a lot of their things that they're going through, their pain that they're feeling. So it can still be taxing, but I'm not using my energy to heal it. I'm really using just the universal energy from the Reiki channel, which is really nice as well. And I always like to think that whenever I'm being a channel for someone, a little bit of the energy does also stick like to me, or just, you know, stays with me. So I'm benefiting from it as well. So that's why I also recommend a lot of people, get using Reiki, which is really a beautiful thing. So a little bit about my Reiki story and how it changed my life, because Reiki can work in some interesting ways. It can actually send you on a path that you're really not expecting or not used to. My Reiki story started in Melbourne in 2016. I was at quite a low point in my life and I knew I needed to do something to change it. And a friend actually came to me and said that she had been to a Reiki therapist. And I didn't even know what that was. And she said, hey, I think you should try it out. I think it's something that you would quite enjoy. So, of course, as open as I am to these alternative healing methods, I will choose anything alternative over school medicine or over pills or anything like that anytime. So I went to see this Reiki therapist who is to this day a beautiful friend of mine. And after just one session, I felt such a powerful urge to move back home to Switzerland. And for me, it had been a long time, like maybe, I don't know, 2-3 years before that, where I was tossing up, should I go home? Should I stay here? Where do I want to go in my life? After about 2-3 days after the session, I just knew I had to book that ticket and I knew I had to go home. I didn't know for what at that point. That became clearer afterwards. But that was for me, that was just, I felt this big push to go. And so that was my first contact with Reiki. I continued having Reiki session every 2 weeks for about 3 or 4 months, which really, really helped me in the position that I was at the time. I'm not saying that everyone has to do that. It's not required that you have Reiki sessions every 2 weeks. You can if you wish, but some people do really well after just 3-4 sessions, and that's usually enough. But I just really enjoyed it, so I was taking advantage of getting more sessions. After when I arrived back in Switzerland and it became clear why I had moved back, so I was actually going back to face a lot of the childhood trauma or a lot of the topics that I was basically almost running away from. I went through another really, really difficult time in my life, and I just knew I had to find a new Reiki therapist. So in Switzerland, I started Googling and I started looking, for a Reiki therapist near me. And I came across a lady who, again, to this day is one of my best friends, and actually also my Reiki teacher now. So I contacted her, set up a session, had a few Reiki sessions with her. And then after a short period of time, she asked me, hey, I actually give Reiki courses as well. I think that's something that you would quite enjoy. And I thought to myself, hey, why not? I have nothing to lose. Let's give it a go. So I signed up for Reiki level 1. I will mention after this briefly, just because I keep skipping and saying like the Reiki levels and everything, but there are 5 levels. So I signed up for level 1. And as I mentioned, I was going through this really rough period of my life again. And I knew something had to change. And it was 1 week after my Reiki level 1 course that I went to visit a city in Switzerland called Lucerne that I've always loved. I've always loved, even as a kid. I always knew I wanted to live there one day. And 1 week after my course, I was there with my sister and I just felt this energy and this pull of, I have to move here. So once again, a new contact with Reiki created another move. So I moved to Lucerne. Absolutely loved it. I was there for 3.5 years and it was beautiful. I had huge transformations, huge breakthroughs there. And during the time that I was living there, I did my further Reiki qualifications. So I ended up doing level 2, 3, and now just recently I've completed level 4 and 5. So while I'm explaining that, just a brief introduction on what the 5 Reiki levels are. So there are 5 different levels to Reiki, and I'm just going to go through step by step what that means. Level 1 is where you can use Reiki to heal anyone who's directly in front of you physically. So they need to be lying in front of you where you can actually see them, touch them, otherwise it won't work. And it's one person at a time. That's what you can do with level 1. So you'll have access to the Reiki energy to heal anyone, including yourself, from day 1. Then with Reiki level 2, what that means is you can send Reiki over distance. So you can actually, like for example, I can send Reiki to someone while I'm in Mexico, to Switzerland, to Australia, to New Zealand, wherever I want. And again, it's one person at a time. You need to ask the person for permission, but you don't need to be physically in front of the person. As we all know, energy doesn't really know any time and space. So it is possible to send Reiki energy over a distance as well when you have Reiki level 2. What allows you to do that is there are Reiki symbols. They basically look similar to the tattoo that I just showed you before. There's 4 Reiki symbols in total. In Reiki level 2, you get introduced to 3 of those. So the first one actually lets you dissolve time and space. So that's, an amazing thing, because I can work remotely from wherever, and it will actually still, the energy will still work and will still reach my clients and my patients, because the intention is set and energy will reach them that way still. So with Reiki level 2, the other 2 symbols that you get are basically a symbol to help sort on a psychological level. That's the second symbol. And the third one is a really strong protection symbol. Then with Reiki level 3, that is your highest personal degree, your highest personal level, if you wish. It's the Reiki Master. So basically you get access to the 4th Reiki symbol, which is the highest protection, highest light symbol of Reiki. What that also means is you can not only can you send Reiki to someone at a distance, but you can also send it to multiple people at a time. So if you want, you can actually send it to groups, you can send it to your whole family, you can send it to a whole country or the whole world if you want. So that's the difference between the Reiki level 1, 2, and 3. Also with Reiki level 3, technically you have the ability and the permission to not have to ask permission to send Reiki energy. So if you feel like someone needs Reiki energy, you can send it. However, we do highly recommend that you still ask permission, because it's just quite invasive if you're sending energy to someone who doesn't want to receive it. The big exception, of course, is if someone's in a coma or someone's been in an accident or there's some emergency, then always, doesn't matter if it's Reiki level 1, 2, and 3, you can give Reiki to help. So if it's like an emergency, then all the other rules are overridden, of course. So then we come to Reiki level 4. So Reiki level 4 is what I did last September. So I'm still fairly new to this as well, but Reiki level 4 is basically your teacher level. So what that means is I can teach healers. So I can teach Reiki level 1 and 2 with level 4. That means I can turn someone into a Reiki healer. With Reiki level 5, however, you get to teach all levels. You get to teach level 1 to 5. So that's the level that I completed last December. That means I can teach teachers. So I'm basically what you would consider a Reiki master teacher. And I highly recommend anyone who's been a Reiki master for a while, who really enjoys giving Reiki sessions, but who wants to connect more with people, to actually take the step to become a Reiki teacher and then master teacher. Because to me, it is so much more rewarding to teach Reiki than to heal. I love healing people, I love helping people, but actually connecting with people, teaching them something and helping to spread the light more, to me, it's just so much more rewarding, and I love it. So I've been lucky enough to teach Reiki level 1 and 2 so far. So I'm really looking forward to teaching level 3, 4, and 5 one day as well. So yeah, so basically ever since using Reiki, it really has changed my life. It's given me a beautiful morning routine. I can use it in situations where either I'm starting to feel nervous, or I have pain somewhere, or I can't sleep. Even if I have an important meeting coming up, it's something you can do that is called it's called a Reiki protection bubble. I think I would call it in English, because I did all of my my Reiki qualifications in German, so it's a little bit hard. Sometimes I need to rethink and translate it, but let's call it a Reiki protection bubble. So you can actually visualize the event. You can visualize, it could be a holiday, it could be a meeting, it could be even just one particular day. You can visualize that in front of you, and you can really just use your hands to fill the Reiki energy into that, and then let it grow if it needs to. And that is your Reiki protection bubble. So that's something I use a lot, which is a really, really beautiful thing to do. And it works every time. I use it, for instance, I use it for my cat when she's traveling with me. She doesn't like traveling. She doesn't like being in cars or being in cages. And that's made a big difference. So it really, really helps her to relax more and to do well on the journey. All right, now we've learned a bit about Reiki. Now I'm sure you're asking yourself, well, what about the aroma part? What is Aroma Reiki? So Aroma Reiki, it's basically, as you would probably guess, it's to do with smells. It's to do with scent, with essential oils. I work with the brand doTERRA, as I'm sure a lot of you know. I hope you can actually see that. To me, they're the best oils. These oils are incredible. They are pure, they are clean, they are exactly what it says on the bottle. There's that in there and nothing more and nothing less. So a lot of them can be ingested as well. Of course, during Reiki, that's not what happens. With Reiki, I use it mainly just for the sensory, to smell. I also coat the aura with it. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I work. So what I like to do is I like to start, relaxing my clients into the session with maybe some kind of calming scent, something like, where have I got it? Like air. I have a huge collection, that's why I'm searching. So something like air that really helps to open the heart, open the airways, and really calm and relax people into the session. What I do afterwards is I like to use the oils based not only on what the client tells me their issues or their topics are that they want to work on, because I'm not sure if you know, every oil has an emotional job as well. So basically it can help with emotional topics. So say, for example, if someone tells me that they're struggling with self-love, or they are in their head too much, then I can maybe grab something like bergamot. And bergamot is it's the oil for self-love that really, really helps just to bring you back to yourself, back to your heart space. Geranium is also a great one for self-love and trust. So that's also one that I use a lot. I also like to work with the colors. So as you can see, for example, this one's pink. I often will use the pink one, for example, for the heart chakra. Even though we know the heart chakra is green, it can sometimes also be classed as pink. But as we know, pink is a big heart chakra color as well. Then the other thing that I like to do is with a lot of people that need earthing or grounding is an oil called Balance. That's something I'll often even put onto their feet. I will often ask them at the beginning if they're okay with it, if they're okay with me touching them with essential oils. If I didn't get the chance or forgot to ask for permission, then I'll just use it either over the clothes or I'll use it on the aura. So how that works is I will usually just rub some of the oil into my hands and then rub it over my client, over their aura, or place my hands on the specific body part. What comes through mostly though is I will just intuitively be working on someone, giving Reiki, and I'll either see an oil, or I will have a certain scent in my nose, or I'll get I don't know, a word come to me where I know I need to use this oil. So I have a huge collection. It's not actually necessary that you have such a big collection. There's like some basic oils that would be enough if this is something that you would want to work with. You don't need to have every single oil in the book. You can really just improvise and chop and change. And the beautiful thing is there's really nothing you can do wrong. So there's not really a wrong oil you can use. It's always going to be whatever is needed at that time. The idea for this as well is something I actually got from my first Reiki therapist in Melbourne. Because I remember when I was getting Reiki sessions, she would often hold like a bottle of, I think it was even coriander, she used to hold under my nose, and she would say, and now breathe deeply. So I was breathing and I'm going, what is that? So there's some oils that smell better than others. Coriander was probably not my favorite, even though I love eating coriander, but that's where I got to love the balance oil. Because if you smell that, you feel like you're just having a walk in the forest. It's amazing. What I also love about doTERRA is they have some mixes. So they have, for example, if someone's a bit stressed or, you know, a bit agitated, you can use these pre-made mixes like Peace. If someone, for example, is lacking motivation in their life, there's one called Motivate. So there's a whole bunch of really, really cool different oils that you can use. Another thing I love is they have some mists. This one is adaptive, so it's actually to do with, like, you know, anxiety and stress. So you can really help with that. It's meant to be a bed linen mist, but who says I can't just go like that and just mist it over myself? And the same thing I can do to my clients. Again, I would ask permission before I did that, because I don't want to just spray someone and then if they're in deep meditation, maybe freak them out or scare them for any reason. So the other thing that I do is I have a cold water diffuser. I don't actually have it on me right now. It's in the other room, but I'm sure most of you know, or if you Google what a cold water diffuser is, I will have that running as well during a session. Now, of course, if someone's in the room with me, they'll smell it straight away. They will actually get the full benefit from it. But this doesn't mean that you can't use it in distance sessions as well, because the intention is still there and they're still gonna get that benefit because you're smelling it, you're taking it in for them, and you're transferring it over to them. So I've often had situations where, or sessions where I've had my diffuser running and people actually said, I had the scent of such and such, or I could suddenly smell something in the room. And that often was the case, that I had something, you know, in the diffuser that they could pick up on. They could just pick up on the energy of it. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. Now, before I get into the last section of this video, I just want to give you a brief overview idea of how I actually use Reiki on myself. So I did mention a few of the options before when I was introducing what Reiki is. So things that I use Reiki on myself for, like I said, is if I struggle to sleep, if, for example, during that time of the month, if I'm having some cramps or some pain, or any kind of pain, like any kind of digestive upset, I can use Reiki for that. If I know that I'm struggling to make a decision, I can use Reiki. Things like, I'm a singer, so I often use Reiki on my throat to clear my throat. There's also some really cool ideas that you can use. For example, if you need to talk a lot, or you need to hold a meditation, for example, a guided meditation, or just any form where people aren't actually looking at you, watching you. In this case, it wouldn't really work. But if, for example, I was just doing an audio, I could actually give myself Reiki while I'm talking to help clear my voice, to help not have that raspy voice or have to clear my throat all the time. So that's something I like to do when I'm doing Reiki courses and I'm giving guided meditations, because it just helps to keep my voice clearer. It also protects my voice from being too strained from talking too long. So the other thing that I do, of course, with singing as well, is there's also oils that can help me. So I take the oils, combine it with Reiki, and I'm good to go. Any kind of sickness that I have, I always use Reiki, or any kind of emotional need as well. So when I'm quite prone to anxiety. So when I do get that anxiety feeling, it just really helps me to put my put my hands on my solar plexus and help soothe that anxiety with some Reiki. So the last thing I want to tell you about is my offerings and how to work with me and how to actually get in touch with me. So as I mentioned, I'm a Reiki teacher, so I do Reiki courses, and that is I would have to say, like, my specialty and my favorite way of working. I'm currently working on setting up in-person courses. I was going to say one-to-one, that's not true, not one-to-one, but in-person group courses here in Mexico. Of course, that's not going to be possible in the whole world because I'm based here at the moment, but wherever I travel to, I'm always open if someone wants to do an in-person course. But it's also possible to do the courses online. So currently what I'm doing is I'm working on a group program so I can actually offer that in a group setting as a pre-recorded version. But at the moment, if anyone says, hey, I would love to learn how to do Reiki, we can also set that up as an online course using Zoom or whatever works for you. So do get in touch if you have ever been interested in learning how to do Reiki. As mentioned, I can teach all 5 levels. So that is definitely an option. If there's a group of people, we can combine that as a group and we can all do it together. So that is one option. The other thing I offer are Reiki sessions, of course. So as mentioned again, I offer Reiki sessions in person as well as distance sessions. So if for whatever reason my session here spoke to you, or you feel like you would like to get some Reiki energy from me, please get in touch. Please, I would love to help you. It would be an honor to work with you. So do get in touch. The other thing that I offer is coaching packages. So I use my Reiki as well, like in my coaching sessions. So I will coach people for their mindset, lifestyle, just basically to raise someone's vibration. And I do that using techniques like Reiki, EFT tapping, breath work. So there's a whole bunch of things that we can work on. And I've had some really beautiful successes from clients where they went through this rough time of feeling stuck and now they're just blossoming. So there's one client in particular who's actually coming to visit me in Mexico next month, and I'm super excited because she's just loving life at the moment. And just before we were working together, she was really struggling to get out of bed some days. So that's another option I have. My coaching packages range from 1 to 3 months. So I do have a 1-month option, where when I say 1 month, it's 4 weeks, and then the 3 months is the 12 weeks. So I highly recommend the 12 weeks for someone who really, really wants to get stuck in and work deeper on their core beliefs, on their limiting beliefs, on changing their mindset and their vibration. But of course, there's also the 1-month packages available, which a lot of people actually use after the 3 months. So after the 3 months, people or clients will often purchase a 1-month extension, which is also a beautiful way to continue for a slightly less amount of time if you want. Then lastly, what I also provide is aroma therapy or oil consultations. I am a consultant or a wellness advocate for doTERRA. I think I mentioned that before. So if anyone is interested in getting a free aromatherapy consultation, then please get in touch as well. I would love to introduce you to the world of oils. It's beautiful, and there are endless possibilities of what you can do with them, and they definitely have changed my life as well for the better. So you can find me probably best on Instagram. So on Instagram, I will try and find a way to put my tag under this video. So my tag is Fabis, so FABIS _ healing energy in one word. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram, but also WhatsApp or Facebook. There's a lot of options to get in touch with me, but please do let me know if there's any questions or if there's any way I can help you. I would love to be of service, and thank you so much for watching. It was an honor to have you here.